JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 15th of May 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts that we looked at this morning as well. So yep, but before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, just always before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So yep, it'll take you to this page, which I believe you can find useful. Now then, quickly, let's have a look at what's happening here. So the number continues to rise, slowly of course, but yeah, that's the situation right now. So yep, let's see how all this is going to develop. But for now, everything is kind of still the same, I would say. Maybe a little bit better, but yeah, still the same. Right, now then, jumping into the a few of the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the German DAX. Now not much has changed since this morning. I talked about this one and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this downside line, although it is a bit of a tentative one, but nevertheless we'll keep an eye on it for now. The downside line is taken from the high of the 20th of February, and in a way we can see that it's kind of indicating right now that there could be a bit of a decline here, or in a way for now the trend is still to the downside. However, previously I talked about this level here, the 10,280 zone, which we need to see a break and ideally a daily close below this in order to aim for lower levels. So yesterday, for example, we did get a break, but we didn't get a close. Today, let's see how all this is going to end up being. But again, for now, it seems that, well, it might end up the week somewhere around here, and maybe, yep, we'll have to just wait for the next week to see which way this is going to end up going to. Or will it break this downside line and push higher towards the highest point of April initially, which is around the 11,236 zone, or will it actually drop below this territory here, below the 10,280 zone, and then yep, we could consider deeper extensions to the downside. The S&P 500 now here yesterday, the index drifted below this this level here, this key important area of support, which is around the the lowest point of May, and that's roughly around the 2,798 territory. It drifted below that, but as you can see, it still closed the trading session in the positive territory and basically kind of just confirmed that it wants to range for now. Looking at the cash index right now and where it is at the moment, we can see that the price is currently balancing at around 2,827.28 zone. So basically just slightly below where it ended yesterday. So basically still within this range. We need to see, as I said, we need to see a daily close below this territory, below this 2,798 territory, and then yep, deeper extensions to the downside could be possible. For now, we will continue observing this one, and will remain a little bit on the neutral side. Silver. silver is popping higher. So if I've talked about gold this morning and gold was moving nicely to the upside, this one is accelerating, and the thing is that it reached one of our targets. Now previously I talked about silver, and what I was saying that if we get a nice break here and we see a daily close above this 15.45 territory, then yes, it increases the chances of a potential move further north, where we will initially target this level, the high of the 14th of April, or in other words the highest point of April, near the 15.84 zone, and then we will be very careful near the 200 EMA. But as you can see, it overshot it and reached our main target near the 16.54 level, which is the low of the 9th of March. So in a way, for now, we will stay careful, because again, it reached our key area of resistance. If this continues to provide resistance, then we may see a bit of a reversal here, or maybe a small correction to the downside, and this is where it will be quite interesting to see if this can drift lower. And for example, if this territory right here, the highest point of April, can provide decent support, then, well, we could see a nice push higher. However, don't get me wrong, if we get a daily close above the 16.54 territory, then yes, we could aim for further higher levels, but for now, we'll be very careful. Like I said, it already had a nice move higher. If we do get a daily close above this 16.54 territory, then our next target is this one here, the high of the same 9th of March, which is roughly around the 17.59 level. So yep, keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the downside, if this travels back below the 1584 territory, which is that highest point of April, if we do get a daily close below it, then yes, lower levels could be met. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Ethereum. So here, this one is kind of floating around that psychological 200 mark. But what's more interesting here is that yesterday, for example, it drifted higher. It found resistance just bang on this line, this upside support line taken from the low, the 13th of March. But it found resistance underneath here and kind of hit that area. And today we're seeing a bit of a decline. However, on the positive side, we are still above this barrier here, the 195 zone, roughly around there, which is the low of the 4th of May. At the same area here, it's also kind of balancing still above the 21-day EMA as well. So basically, for now, it's kind of looking quite positive, I would say. But the only problem here is, of course, that we're still below this upside line. We would actually prefer to see a push above the 227.53 territory in order to aim for higher levels. So again, for now, guys, be very careful, be very cautious, and let's see how all this is going to play out. But yeah, for now, we should probably remain a little bit on the cautious side, because again, although everything's kind of leaning a little bit more to the upside, still we are stuck below this upside support line. In a way, if you are a little bit on the cautious side, what you could do here is just wait for a drop below for example, the low of the 11th of May, which is roughly around the 176.50 zone, and a drop below this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, lower levels could be met. Until then, the downside kind of is a tricky one, and even with the same story with the upside, if you want to be on a cautious side, just wait for a push above the April's high, which is around the 227.50 zone. Jumping into a few pairs, AUD and ZD. So this one's popping nicely to the upside. So first of all, I talked about this one recently, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this level here, the 1.0757. We had a nice break on Wednesday, then on Thursday, but on Thursday it ended the day just bang on this line, and today we are seeing a continuation move to the upside here and pushing further away from this 1.0757 level to the north. So yep, the next level for us here is the 1.0865 territory, which is the highest point of November 2019, guys. So basically, this is where we're aiming here for right now. Don't get me, I mean, we are we keep creating these new highs for 2020. So yep, for now, like I said, we will remain positive and aim for the highest point of November, near the 1.0865. If by any chance this starts suddenly dropping lower, and if it suddenly, let's say, closes below the 1.0757, then, well, yep, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside, where we could aim maybe towards this 1.0585 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. NZDJPY, this leads us into this. I talked about this one this morning, and basically the idea still remains the same. You can see that we are still stuck in a range. The lower bound today got once again violated. However, the bears are struggling to keep the rate below this. So below that lower end of the range. So for now, we will probably still stay neutral, although it is indicating that there could be a possibility for further decline. However, we need that confirmation close, guys. So for now, again, like I said, keep your eyes on the daily chart. Let's see how this day is going to end and where this week is going to end, because it could be quite interesting going into the beginning of next week. So that's why for now, guys, probably here the suggestion is to wait and wait for a close of the daily candle today. So let's see how and where it's going to end. US dollar against the South African rand. Now, this is something that I haven't touched on for quite a while, but I just wanted to quickly run through this one. This is kind of from the section of interesting exotic pairs. So some of you might look at this, some of you don't, but just what I wanted to quickly run by you guys here is, again, we are sometimes finding very good scenarios here on instruments like that, like for example the US dollar against the Russian ruble, which I've mentioned about this morning. So check out the morning video for that. And here in this situation, we are seeing a nice, I would say, symmetrical triangle here, or in a way something like this, basically, guys. So for now, let me just quickly put this one on the chart. Now, with the downside, we have, there we go. So either we can see it as a symmetrical triangle, or maybe just a wedge. However, still the same idea remains. We would need to see a nice good breakout of this area, because again, the pair right now is getting into a squeeze. So it could be quite interesting once it starts getting out of this little kind of territory. So in a way, what you could do here for now at this point in time, you could keep an eye on for example, this week's high, which is roughly around, let me just grab this one very quickly. So you could keep an eye on this week's high, which is roughly around the 18.7540 territory. A nice good pop above this could, yep, open the door towards the highest point of April, near the 19.3450 territory, roughly around there as well. And in terms of the downside, you could keep an eye on the lowest point of this week, which is roughly around the 18.16 zone, and drop below this, yep, could open the door towards these lower levels. So yep, it is quite interesting, guys. So like I said, keep your eyes on it, and we may squeeze something out of it. Now, US dollar against the Swiss franc. Now you can see that it's on a bit of a decline. So this morning I've mentioned, guys, as well, that keep an eye on the news, keep an eye on the economic calendar, because we got the US retail sales, and to be honest, those came out as a huge disappointment. And not only that the forecast was already a huge disappointment, but the actual number was even worse. So basically that's kind of putting a bit of pressure here on the US dollar, and well, safe havens like Swiss franc and the Japanese yen are attracting right now, so attracting buying interest. So yep, for now we will probably remain a little bit neutral here on this pair, because To be honest, still the same idea remains. We need to see a clear break through one of these levels here. So either through the upper side of the range, because currently the pair is in range, through the upper side of the range, which is roughly around the 0.9797 zone, or we need to see a drop below this little area in here, the 0.9681. But then in that case, we will only target the lower side of the range here. So basically this could kind of lead to a move lower within the range. So but still, of course, the more comfortable level for us is a break here, a break through the lower bound of the range here. So, but again, we will consider slightly lower levels within the range if we get a drop and we get a daily close below the 0.9681 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. GBPUSD. This one's quite interesting, and this morning I talked about this one. This morning we were still hanging around here in this highlighted territory. Basically not much has changed. So we are still kind of struggling to overcome this 1.2163 territory, which is the lowest point of April, and ideally we would prefer to see a daily close below it in order to aim for lower levels. For now, we'll stick to the idea here that we'll remain neutral as long as it stays inside this kind of wide range. But if once we get a daily close below the 1.2163 territory, then yes, slightly lower levels could be met here. But again, for now, be very careful. And finally, euro dollar. So euro, of course, understandable that the US dollar is kind of taking a hit a little bit, and the euro is strengthening. And in addition to that, we got the preliminary GDP figures from the Eurozone, which came out slightly better, still not very good, but slightly better than the forecast. So yep, basically the bad retail sales and the good GDP figures from preliminary GDP figures from Eurozone is kind of helping euro dollar to bounce off of this upside support line. As you can see, this is why I'm not getting rid of this upside line, because this is exactly what I was talking about. So for example, yes, the level here, the 1.0777 is the one that we're keeping a close eye on right now. That's the lower side of the range. However, yes, the upside support line is also kind of doing its part, let's put it this way. However, as I've mentioned before, as long as we're staying in this little territory here, we will probably still remain neutral, because we would like to see a daily close above the 1.00875 territory, and only then we could aim for higher levels. So yep, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this one. Could be quite interesting, but again, we cannot really do much until we're kind of stuck in this little territory. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and really thank you very much for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my videos, and yeah, I really appreciate your time, I really do. So if you want to catch my videos next week, as always, we'll start as usual now on Monday, 7 o'clock GMT time. My morning espresso live. But yeah, guys, I hope you have also a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, both financial and health-wise. And yeah, everything will be fine then. Yeah, so guys, like I said, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.